The U.S. government's National Institute of Standards and Technology, or NIST, released their final study of the Twin Towers. The 10,000-page report contained very sophisticated computer models of the airplanes and the fires, but no effort was made to model or study the actual destruction. They dismissed it with 3 words. We went to McMaster University and spoke with chemical and nuclear engineer Frank Greening. Greening has created a mathematical model attempting to show that a gravity-driven collapse was possible.
They stop at that global collapse ensued famous mantra. They just say global collapse ensued, and then they walk away. It's like, it started collapsing, we can go home now. I kind of this takes over where NIST stops.
Greening and co-author Besant are continuing the original pile driver theory.
Upper block drops 1 floor, 3.7 meters, hits the floor below, somehow manages to break the support structures of that floor. That floor now is therefore added to the block. It now hits the next floor, so on down. So the mass of the upper block actually grows, and it just chews away at the building.
This is what Dr. Greening is imagining: a strong upper block pile driving down through the tower. But this is not what we see. What we see is the top part of the building disintegrates before the undamaged lower part moves an inch. Here's a different view. Watch the corner. So much for Greening's pile driver. As the towers were being destroyed, large ejections of debris were observed far below the main front. Loose change claimed they were explosive charges going off. NIST and popular mechanics tried to explain it away with a piston analogy.
When the top of that building comes down, all that air has to come out, and where it comes out the windows. It blows out the windows.
For a piston to work compressing air, it has to be sealed. I asked Dr. Greening how collapsing towers could be sealed.
There were elevator shafts and stairwells. The air could be pushed down those. In a sense, the building itself is self-sealing, so some of it would be pushed out of that particular floor, out of the windows.
This makes no sense. We've already seen that the piston disintegrates before it pushes down on anything. But imagine for a moment that floors are intact and sealed and pushing air down. They cannot fall any faster than free fall. The main collapse front has only had enough time to get down to this level, yet we are to believe that material 20 stories below has already been crushed? How can that possibly be? And there is another problem with the official collapse theory. Smoke from the fires was drifting up and off to the southeast because that's the way the breeze was blowing. As the buildings are destroyed, look what happens in this area.
Here's what I want to call your attention to is just look in this area right here, what happens to the smoke and how much it expands. distance between where that building is and that smoke increases because the building's falling down away from that area.
Yeah.
And yet, for some strange reason, that smoke begins to really expand and get.
Yeah, I've never seen that. Well, I've seen this particular video, but that little puff there at the end is strange.
It's strange because expanding a smoke cloud into a mushroom shape against the wind requires tremendous heat energy. That's why we only see this kind of effect with powerful explosives. And there is another problem with believing in a gravity collapse: the floors. Each tower had 107 floors. Corrugated steel pans, an acre in size, were held up by steel trusses filled with steel reinforced concrete. Everyone agrees that a gravity collapse does not have nearly enough energy to pulverize steel floor pans. Supposedly 107 floor assemblies fell down right here. Where are they? Imagining that a skyscraper or any object can crush itself into dust under its own weight is cartoon physics. The official story has to be that the floors all landed in the footprint of the building, because if too much of the mass goes outside the footprint, there's not enough left to push down, and any sort of collapse would just stop.
Roughly, let's say 20% of mass shedding could be tolerated.
This is Brent Blanchard, a demolition expert and senior editor of Implosion World. Blanchard supports the official story and wrote a paper attempting to debunk 9/11 demolition theories. But he admits that there was basically nothing left in the footprint. Most of the mass was somehow converted into very fine dust and spread all over lower Manhattan. Oops, I guess Mr. Blanchard didn't get the memo. A few steel sections remained intact. This 100-ton section was thrown over 300 feet to the west, where it landed in the Winter Garden. Tiny human bone fragments were found on the roof of this building years later.